Salutations, crustaceans. I'm Lobster, and today we're reviewing a real special bass. What once was an abandoned Lakland signature model was revived by Dan Laken with the unexpected help from an amp company. Let's check it out. This right here is the Ashdown Low Rider. That's right, this is an Ashdown bass. You may be familiar with the Ashdown amps, but this is one of their basses. This was designed by Dan Laken, the founder of Lakland Basses, and the Ashdown line of basses is being produced by Mirr Music, the company that produces Reverend basses, Fret King, and quite a few others. So this particular model right here started off life as a Lakland signature model for the late John Entwistle. They were collaborating with him while he was still alive, but the project was abandoned when he passed away. However, Dan Laken has revived the design, and it's now part of the Ashdown bass series. The Ashdown bass lineup features a J bass, a P bass, the Low Rider here, a short scale J bass, and a PJ. I don't remember the names off the top of my head. However, if they're at the same quality level as this thing, then you have a lot to look forward to. I've spent the last week or so with this instrument, and I've really been impressed with it. I was even more impressed to hear that this is coming in right around $1,100, which is a couple $100 cheaper than the equivalent Lakland. This particular model features a lightweight alder body, maple neck with rosewood fretboard, and this neck is very special because it has a really nice jazz profile, and it's coated with the same oil finish that's used on the USA Lakelands, which is a very high quality neck finish. And you can really tell with this, the neck feels great. This particular model is finished in a gorgeous Lake Placid blue, but I know that there's a variety of colors available. You also have the option of a maple fretboard, as well as block inlays for both the rosewood and the maple boards. You can really customize this thing to your liking. And in regards to hardware, this thing is no slouch either. Featuring Hipshot ultralight tuners, a Wilkinson bridge, and two Wilkinson humbuckers here in the Music Man style configuration. For a control configuration, you have a volume tone passive config. However, the control cavity on the back is actually really large and gives you a lot of options for expandability. You can definitely fit a preamp as well as a 9 or 18 volt setup right in there with no problems. And you definitely won't need to do any additional routing. It's free real estate. Now, the thing that impressed me most about this bass is how much versatility it packs, especially with such a limited control configuration. Now, I know what you're thinking. You just see two Stingray humbuckers here, and you think you know how it's going to sound. But it doesn't sound like that. Let me show you. You guys know what you need to do. Go ahead and pinch that like button so my hand can turn back to normal. Thanks. Man, this thing sounds great. You can definitely hear the Entwistle influence in the tone. As I mentioned earlier, the neck on this thing is really nice. This has a jazz type profile, and it's coated with the same type of oil that you find on the USA Lakelands. So that's one big plus for these over the Lakeland Skylines. The balance of this bass is really nice, especially considering the Thunderbird-esque shape. I feel like the Hipshot tuners, which are lightweight, as well as the nice little cutaway here, which makes a nice armrest, make for some really solid balance on this bass. Let's check out these pickups individually. First, let's start with the neck pickup. Here's that with the tone at 100%. Next, here's the neck pickup with the tone at 50%. And here's the neck pickup with the tone all the way down. let's move over to the bridge pickup. Here's that at 100% tone. Now here's the bridge pickup with the tone at 50%. And here's the bridge pickup with the tone all the way down. Now here's both pickups together. Here's that with 100% tone. Next, here's both pickups with the tone at 50%. And here's both pickups with the tone all the way down. And I know you guys are wondering, how does she slap? I also want to try slapping just with the neck pickup to see what it sounds like. Here it is. Now before I give my final thoughts in this bass, I did have a short interview with Dan Laken and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. Afterwards, I'll give my rating on this bass.
It's a low rider. It's also, we call it the John Entwistle bass because it's based in the early 70s. John played a Gibson T-Bird with a Fender neck, and they referred to it as a Fender Bird. So this bass actually began in late 1999, early 2000 as a Lakland project. We were working with John. Now, John at that point was already heavily into graphite necks, and he was playing status basses. I personally was not a fan of, but he loved them, and he loved dead straight necks. So his Gibson necks he didn't like. They gave him problems, so he preferred the Fender necks. I mean, he would make them dead straight, maybe even backbowed. If you listen to his sound, there's quite a bit of fret noise, which he liked, and eventually led him to the graphite path. So we were working with John on a signature model, and then he passed away. So we just kind of stopped working on it. And we were working with John, and John had an assistant named Cy Langston, and we were working together. Anyways, so that's where it started. Then let's fast forward to I sold Lakland in 2010, and when my non-compete was up, I came back to the market with a Korean-made bass out of a factory in South Korea named Mirr Music. I sent them a Lakland Glob and a Lakland Osborne. So Lakland P and a J. They copied it. I sent them the recipe for the oil necks, which is pretty easy to do once you're set up for it. The products came in, they were great. I was trying to do it myself, a one-man show. There's been some lawsuits, various things. Fender tried to copyright their shapes. I, with about 20 other manufacturers, fought Fender. This was in 2005, and we won. And headstocks are wide open now. The Fender headstock is a derivative of a Bigsby product. So, you can't even say Fender was the first to use that. So that's where the headstock came from. So the neck shape is identical to the D Laken Osborne. It's a J neck. It's a 1.5 inch nut. When we went to design a line, so in summer last year or fall, Mark Goodday was coming through town, and we were friends, and he was at Chicago Music trying to get him to carry his stuff, and I picked him up and drove him to the airport, and we talked about doing something together, and I really wasn't interested at that time, but a couple of months later I said, why not? I'm not gonna have to do anything except the design, So I put him in touch with Mirr. I spec'd it out. They came in, Mark and his son Dan. I think Dan did a body shape that's called the Saint. So we did a P, a J, a Saint, and then the Low Rider, which is the one you're talking about now. Mm-hmm. Now, the pickups, okay? We have to work with what's available in Korea. To make U.S. pickups and send them over there will bring the bass into a new price point. So we want, and I've had nothing but good luck with the P and J pickups that they made for D Laken. Very good quality. I couldn't tell a difference between that and a Lindy Fralin, to be honest. Really, they're great. So they did not have a T-Bird style pickup or a chrome colored pickup, a chrome covered humbucker like was used by Gibson. They did have a Music Man, and it's a humbucker also, and it's a shape that people know and trust. So we spec'd it out without hearing it, and I changed the pickup locations. I put the neck pickup right under the neck, and then the bridge pickup right against the bridge. That's something I did at Lakland first with the Chef bass. If anybody remembers that.
Yeah, and I have one right over here.
Yeah. That was a bass that had two pickups in totally different locations. Just a side note, that bass was great. Bass Player Magazine did a review where they referenced that the bass was not versatile, which killed me because I argued and said, how can you print this? It's the most versatile bass I make. Anyways, they printed it. It killed the model. I did not sell very many Jerry Chefs. So the first time I heard the bass, the Low Rider with the Music Man pickups, was at the NAMM show in January. And I plugged it in, and I first went to the bridge pickup, super punchy Jocko, easy Jocko, and the neck pickup is super deep and low. I love both tones. I didn't do too much with both pickups on. Because they're humbuckers, you can use either or without having any hum issues. The body balance, it's different. A T-Bird feels different, but not uncomfortable, even though I'm, very Fender oriented as far as body shapes. Fender Music Man. Once you get it in the right position, and I don't have one with me because I sold through the first batch right away, which is great, but it's comfy. It's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
It sits out a little long, but it doesn't feel. I'll give you an example of a bass that ergonomically feels longer than it is, like an alembic. If you've ever played an alembic, even a
I used to have a Series
32-inch
1. Yep,
alembic, okay, you know what I'm talking about.
I do,
And
yeah.
that's just the way they put the body to the neck. And there are plenty of people that like them. So, but for me, it sets the neck. You go and hit a G, or and whatever. It's just difficult. So I'm really happy with the way it came out. I thought of the bases, there's 5 bases in the line. That was the one that excited me the most.
One thing that I like that you mentioned the Thunderbird body, I like how it's shaped where you can rest your arm on that on the
Yeah,
cutaway, and it kind of helps balance quite a bit. And the
it
hip
does.
shot hardware, I mean, on the headstock, that's real nice for the to prevent some of that neck dive that is kind of inherent in that body shape.
I liked I like the tuners so much. I'm considering using them on the US. I think they are smoother than the US ultralights. They're great. They really are. I mean, no reason to change them. Also, the T-Bird has a control cavity, so you could add a preamp if you want. Uh, I found a Mojitone preamp that I love. They call it a Music Man clone, and it's a clone of the first Stingray preamp because Stingray preamps changed.
Mm-hmm.
Rumor is Leo had a hard hearing trouble in treble frequencies, so some of his later designs had too much treble because he was compensating for his own hearing. I don't know if that's true. I believe it though. So it's upgradable. The bridge is great. I mean, it's just a Fender bridge, but it works. Some people would want it to go through the body. If you want it, I can help you with that. I'll send you some string through ferrules. Any tech could drill holes. You could get any number of bridges. I'll sell you one of my bridges if you want that has string through holes. Personally, I prefer through bridge stringing. Sometimes when I went through body at Lakland, the E string would sound like there was a chorus, and then I would take the string out and put it through the bridge, and that would go away.
Hmm.
But I know some people really believe in through body, and it's not my place to tell you what's right. But so those are some upgrades that you can that can happen. The pick guard, I'll be offering. We work with Spitfire, makes beautiful tortoise, and they'll have the template, so you'll be able to get guards for it. So there's a lot you can do.
Let's talk about the like the price point and like I guess other options. So
Yeah.
what are these priced at the in the US?
1050, no, 11 includes a gig bag, I believe. The first 6 they didn't have the bags yet, so I was selling them for 1,050. If you buy them from me, hopefully the next batch I'll have the gig bags. But if I don't, I'll give you 50 back. I'll offer you a mono. I use mono sleeve or vertigo bags, and I use SKB and G&G cases. There's extra charge for those, but they're
Mm-hmm.
available. The Ashdown bag's really nice. You can get really, really good low priced bags from China and Korea. That's where they come from. So I saw one at the NAMM show. I should have taken a photo, but I don't. So I believe 1,100 is the magic number. Oh, you were asking, who distributes them, and Mark's still working on that. There's a chance that I might be the distributor, which means I'll look at everything that comes through into the United States.
Yeah.
They would hit me, and then I would supply to dealers. It looks like that might happen. So, but again, it's not really a big issue because Mirr does a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. It has the retro vibe, but I really like the electronics configuration. Having spent some good amount of time with this, I like the versatility of both pickups, and just seeing the two Music Mans, you think of a certain sound that you're gonna get, but
Right.
what you actually get is completely different, and it's great, and
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah, I would leave it the way it is if I were using that bass on a gig. I don't think it needs anything active. The pickups are very dimensional. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know. I'm looking for a word. It's not coming out, but there's a lot going on there.
A lot of depth to the pickups, I
Yeah.
guess.
Well,
Yeah.
you've got two distinct usable tones. It's not like a single bass. It's like having two basses. You know, they're that different. You know, a jazz bass, yeah, the neck pickup's a little deeper than the bridge pickup, and but this thing, it's like, oh my god. I mean, that's the same bass, but it's two in one.
Now, what sort of production numbers are we looking at for the Ashdown line?
The first the first order was 125, and I
Base model?
still, yeah, no, the, figure of 20% of that would be the low riders.
Mm-hmm.
Total production, I believe, is 125 pieces. And the next order, I have no idea what Mark's going to order. Depends on what people think. And I don't think I think they're booked up. I mean, the industry's going crazy. People are at home needing toys.
Yeah.
So I think they're out a year. There may not be after this shipment, which again, I hope to have another 6 to 8 of these in my possession of all the different body shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Or you may have to wait until mid 2021 or late 2021 to get one. So not trying to be a salesman too much here, but if these interest you, I'd find one as quick as you can. And if anybody sees this, just email me, dlaken@lakencorp.com, and I can tell you what we got coming in, and maybe even if there's something that I wasn't going to order but you want, we can work with you.
So is D Laken basically just U.S. production, and then the Ashdown is overseas?
That's exactly right. Just this week I have set up Laken Music LLC, and we'll have D Laken basses. I'll have an electric guitar. Don't get mad at me, you bass players, but I do enjoy guitar as well. We're bringing back the Stingray and Sabre guitars that were only made from 76 to 1980. I think they're fantastic designs. They didn't make it commercially for a number of reasons, but really Fender fell out with the people at Music Man because Leo was contracted to make the guitars, and they just butted heads, and the company died, and then Leo went right into G&L. But anyway, so we got guitars, basses. I can't say the name, but there's an amplifier company that will also be part of Laken Music. Really great amps. So we're trying to build a company. I'm trying to build a company that is doing what Fender did in the early 60s. What I mean by that is Fender had guitars, basses, guitar amps, bass amps, all head of the class in all four categories. And that's what I'm shooting for, or at least in the league of. And I want to say one other thing, and you don't have to use this if you want, but I'll say it anyway. You mentioned Reverb, okay? I don't know if everybody's heard that Reverb was sold in January. Now, I was the biggest Reverb fan. I've sold over 70 instruments on Reverb. Since January, and especially now, the fees are up. The fees are up. Sales tax on every transaction, regardless of who's in what state, because they're in all states. I have fought back, and I've got a website called Dan Swap Shop. Just as it sounds, .com. Dan Swap Shop. You can get it off my website. Peer-to-peer, 100% peer-to-peer. No middleman. If you like having the comfort of, having somebody there for you if something goes south, use Reverb or eBay. But if you want peer-to-peer, no fees, no sales tax, try us. It's pretty cool. And it's not quite as slick as Reverb is at this point, and but understand, we're not in the middle of the transaction. We have nothing to do with the transaction. That's between you and your buyer, the seller and the buyer. Trust each other. I'll ship today. You pay me today. I've sold 3 things off, and it's worked great. And, you know, I just think you sell a $2,000 bass and a guy, but he's walking out the door at $2,300 or $2,400. It's just not great.
Yep.
So
I'll actually link that in the description of the video.
that'd be great.
Also, I just gotta say, I really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you so much, Dan.
Okay, thanks, Will.
Have a good night.
Bye.
So now the question remains, what am I going to rate the Ashdown Low Rider? Ugh. I'm going to go ahead and rate this bass 4 claws out of 5. I feel like this is an excellent bass all around, especially for a passive setup. I appreciate the expandability as well as the standardized layout of the hardware, and I think the design and the history behind it is really neat as well. You can really get a variety of tones out of this thing, and it really surprised me in terms of what I got out of it compared to what I expected. What also surprised me was how good the neck was. This is a really slick neck, it's nice. That oil finish is really, really good. I'd put the finish on this neck on par with the FGNs, which in my opinion are one of the best necks on the market right now. And coming in at around $1,000, $1,100, somewhere in that ballpark, this is an excellent instrument for the price. It definitely takes a lot of cojones to enter into a brand new market segment. Ashdown is primarily known for making amps, and I think it's very brave of them to release a full line of basses, especially with no real experience making basses prior to this. I do see why they brought in Dan Laken though, because these things are really, really nice. So great job Ashdown, and great job Dan. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below and let me know what you think about the Ashdown Low Rider. And as always, until we groove again.